You have a Pandas data frame with a large number of columns, and you want to display all the columns in a Jupyter notebook. Let's see this with an example. For example, we load a data frame with a large number of columns. Here we are using a CSV file to load the information in the data frame. And you can see that this data frame has 23 columns. And if we scroll through the columns in the data frame that is being displayed from the head function, you can see that some columns in the data frame have been omitted. This is because by default in Jupyter Notebooks, there is a maximum number of columns option that is set that can be displayed in the output. We can see that option for ourselves by using the pandas get option function and pass in display dot max columns option. So you can see that for a pandas data frame in this particular Jupyter notebook, we can only display at a maximum 20 columns. Now, since our data frame had 23 columns, 3 of the columns have been not displayed in the output. We can change this option to display all the columns in the data frame. To do so, you can use the pandas set option function and set the value of the display dot max columns option to none. So the first parameter to this function will be the option that you want to set, which is the display dot max columns option. And if you set it to none, it will take it as that you want to display all the columns, irrespective of the number of columns in the data frame. Now, if we now display the data frame using the head function, you'll see that all the columns in the data frame have been displayed. That is, none of the columns have been truncated in the output. So you can see that you can use the set option function to set the display.max columns option to none, which will display all the columns in the Jupyter notebook. Note that you can also pass in a specific number. For example, you can pass in 23 here or 25 here to set the maximum number of columns that you want to display. But if you want all the columns to be displayed, you can better set it as none. Now, another small thing that if you try to restart the kernel, the default option will be set again. That is, here we restarted the kernel, and if we try to read the data frame and display its first 5 rows, you'll again see the default option of 20 max columns have been set. So again, you can use the set option function to set the max columns display option, and it will show you all the columns in the data frame in the notebook. So keep in mind that the set option function persists only through the current kernel session.